Hello Tanmay and welcome to Galgotias. A very warm welcome. So how are you feeling at Galgotias?
Feeling absolutely great right after my talk. It was a really great experience. It was a wonderful audience, asked a lot of great questions.
Yeah, it was really good to have you on board.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I would really like to ask, what are your reviews about the audience, about the response, about the questions they asked?
Absolutely. I mean, I think it was a really, really exciting experience. I mean, of course, during my talk, just seeing sort of the interest that everyone had in sort of machine learning and what I was talking about was great. And from there, also taking a look at the kinds of questions I had around healthcare, what I'm doing with machine learning, artificial general intelligence. There was one question around the Sophia robot. So they asked a lot of great questions that were really sort of into what I was talking about, and I think they're doing absolutely great.
So like you are a programmer and you might have faced various errors while coding.
Absolutely.
So like there might be various errors which took days and even weeks to be sorted out.
Absolutely.
So what is your way to tackle them, or what is your way out to sort them?
So let's talk about, first of all, let's just say machine learning in specific. So machine learning is a little bit different from regular programming in that usually I don't experience like regular bugs, like errors in my applications with machine learning. Rather, I experience much more complex errors, and that is the machine learning model won't fit. It won't generalize my data for some reason. Overfits and underfits. These are the kinds of problems that you experience with machine learning, and they're not as simple as changing one line of code and fixing it, or changing a function or changing a certain architectural module. You have to change the architecture of the machine learning algorithm itself, which is very complex. And so occasionally what will happen is, like, for example, let's just say I'm training one more thing that I presented about today in user recommendation. Training that system took me, quite a few days to actually get the final version because of the fact that every time you train a neural network model, first of all, because of the fact, of course, there's no like huge enterprise backing the research that I do, so I don't have like huge servers and stuff to train on. And so, of course, I don't have the kind of compute power to get things done like in an hour. So it does take up to, say, a day for me to get the result of a model. And deep learning barely ever works on the first try. So it took me around 6 or 7 tries to get just the right architecture. And it's really sort of a combination of an art and a science, because there's no defined way to fix this neural network, because there is no one that's architected this neural network before. But at the same time, it's kind of like an art, so the experience that you get that, hey, this usually works, this activation function usually works the best, or this method of the architecture usually works the best. So it really just depends. It's a combination of understanding the technique and the sort of experience that you have.
Okay.
So like you said that in machine learning, you want to focus on healthcare.
Yes.
Yeah. So what inspired you to focus on healthcare as a whole?
Sure. So mainly what happened is the reason that I focus so much on healthcare is because I found that really machine learning, of course, technology in general is good for healthcare. But healthcare is also really good for machine learning technology. And the reason I say that is because there, first of all, is a lot of data in the field of machine learning. And by a lot of data, I mean in one country, the US, 1 year, 2015 alone, just one country, 1 year, they generated over 60 billion medical images, which is a number so big that it's hard to wrap your head around how big that is. So if you were to take a look at all that data, you'd realize that it's impractical for humans to process that alone. The machine learning algorithms can help us make use of all of that data. And even, like, for example, let's just say that there's a really rare form of cancer that has appeared in some patient in Dubai. Imagine being able to use machine learning technology to instantly learn about that case, and 2 days later something similar happens in New Zealand, being able to automatically apply that knowledge because a previous case has taught the neural network how to deal with it. So really that sort of instant learning, the huge data that's available, and the fact that the humans in the field need all the help they can get really inspires me to work in the field of healthcare, and also to seeing how you can implement something and it immediately changes so many people's lives really is really fascinating to me.
It's really good to hear that you are working for the welfare of humanity.
Thank you.
And it's like we have been talking about technology like for past 3 hours, and right now we're also talking about, let's change it up. You are traveling around all the globe, you're hopping on the map every time. So you might have that hectic schedule and all the tired and addictive journey. So what do you do to cope up with that? I really want to know. You travel a lot.
Well, first of all, traveling is mostly fun for me.
Okay.
So the majority of cases, it's actually really, really exciting. Like coming to India. India is actually one of my favorite places. Actually, my grandparents live here in Delhi as well. So yes, absolutely. So coming to India in general is always fun, but also going really anywhere. It's a new experience. It's exciting. You know, going for an event, talking about all the stuff that I'm doing is exciting for me. And usually, I mean, I don't need to cope up with anything really because there's nothing that I can avoid with. Yeah, I really enjoy it, and I just usually, like for example, if I'm going to say Boston for a keynote for like EMD Toronto, they had a great event there. I just go like a day early and come back the day after my keynote, or the day of my keynote, just to sort of get accustomed to that. So yeah, it's usually really fun.
Okay, so talking about traveling and plans, what are your plans in India to travel around, and what are the places that you would like to explore?
Sure. So I mean, I have always wanted to go to the Taj Mahal. That's for sure.
You must. It's a wonder.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I have always wanted to go there. Haven't got the opportunity to do so yet, but hopefully very soon. Apart from that, in India, I'm not too sure. I do know, I mean, in this specific trip, I'm only here in Delhi, but usually when I come to India, I go to a few different cities. Like I'm coming back in soon, and then I'm going to be going to a few different cities around India. But usually, I do that. This year, or this time, the specific trip, though, was just New Delhi. In fact, I'm actually originally here for a keynote that I have for Tomorrow's India, which is a conference being held the day after tomorrow on Saturday. And so it's basically all around the future of India and all of that kind of stuff.
So, like, we know the fact that you were homeschooled. So, like, do you miss that school life of fun that friends do have?
Not really, because, I mean, I still do have a lot of fun. I mean, of course, apart from the fact that coding is what I like to do for fun, there's also biking and table tennis that I'm really interested in.
Okay, that's nice.
But also, actually, very recently, I started getting into some more stuff like cricket, actually.
Okay.
So, the story behind that is actually pretty interesting as well. So, what happened was, a little while ago, actually, around a year ago, I'd say. There's a cricketer coach that used to play for England. His name's Jeremy Snape, and he owns a psychology company now called The Sporting Edge. And so he basically interviews people around sports or just around technology or whatever. And he talks about, a little bit of psychology. And so he wanted to interview me. And so he lives in London, I live in Toronto. I was flying to Denmark for a conference, so he flew to Denmark as well. Okay. And before my keynote, he interviewed me, and during the interview, he taught me a little bit of cricket. So I'm starting to get into that now as well.
He basically inbuilt that curiosity in you to go for cricket, start learning it.
Absolutely.
So, like, I want to ask that, like, do you have friends of your age also?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But like, don't you feel inferior that you know so much and like they don't know that much? So like, does it affect your relationship anywhere?
Not really. In fact, they are least interested, unfortunately, in technology. Okay. I have definitely tried to get them into it. But unfortunately, it has not worked just yet. But hopefully they'll come around one day. But no, unfortunately, they do not like technology nearly as much as I do.
So like your first book is Hello Swift. So from where did you get the motivation to write a book at such a young age?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So my first book, Hello Swift, sort of the original motivation behind writing Hello Swift was that, first of all, this was back when I was around 11 years old, I started writing Hello Swift. And the main reason was because, as I mentioned during my keynote, every time I upload a YouTube video or write a blog, I always find that there are tens of people that are reaching out to me right as I upload a video, and it's around tons of different topics too. It could be around, for example, how do I fix an error in my application, or how do I implement this algorithm, or how do I implement this service. There are tons of different ways that people would ask me questions, tons of different things they would ask me questions about. So I realized that there's a lack of resources for people to get into programming, and I thought, what better way to, take this new programming language by Apple, Swift, and bring it to people? So I thought of writing a book and found a publisher, and I had started writing Hello Swift, which is currently available for pre-order. Should be out in the next few weeks.
That's really great.
Thank you.
Like, you are an excellent presenter that we just saw.
Yeah.
So, like, do you prepare your presentation beforehand, or like it's impromptu?
So, of course, since I do have to prepare slides, I do prepare a few days in advance, but there's not much sort of preparation that I really need to do because, mostly what I'm talking about is what I love to do, right? It's the thing that it's sort of my work that I'm talking about, and I just absolutely love doing it. So it's not really necessarily something that I need to prepare for, but it's just, getting everything ready in advance, making sure that everything's in place, and and just here and
So then I would really like to ask, are you much of a reader, except for the coding books that you read? Is there something, some genre that
little
gets
clause
your-
that you added there apart from coding books it makes it a little more difficult, but
Okay. Is there anything? Let's explore.
there's the Deep Learning book by Joshua Bengio.
Okay, it's again into that computer thing.
I have read quite a few books. I can't get one on the top of my mind right now. But it's been a little bit of time since I last read a novel, I'd say.
Okay.
But I am definitely into reading.
Okay,
Definitely.
you're definitely into
But
it.
yeah, just that little.
So one message you would like to give the youth of a country or the learners who want to make career in machine learning.
Yes.
What is one message you would like to convey?
Sure. So career in machine learning in specific, if you were to ask, then I would definitely say that first of all, I mean, what's the base of machine learning? It's programming, it's coding. So you've got to make sure that first of all, you are really passionate about programming, really passionate about technology, because if you're not passionate about it, don't do it, because you're not going to be perseverant. And that brings me to my second tip: make sure that you're really perseverant. Like you're always going to experience challenges. That's just part of the process. You just got to realize that every time you experience a problem, you're going to be fixing that problem, and you're never going to experience that or a similar problem ever again. So those are the main two tips. But also make sure that, say you're learning through a course, make sure that you're not just following the curriculum, but you're also implementing, your own applications. You're learning your own way as well through example by actually implementing it. So those are my sort of three main tips. But in general, it really depends on what you are passionate about.
Thank you so much,
It
Tanmay.
was
It was
Thank
a
you.
really
Pleasure.
great time to have you on board.
Thank you very much.
And to discuss things with you, to know
you.
what real Tanmay is, except what he's on the stage. It was a real pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much. Thanks.